What's good with the YouTube? You already know Big Flacco with the convict's perspective. And I'm gonna smash, dash, and slide on through that little bit of energy. Please hit the like, subscribe, comment, do all those things to help support this channel, as well as hit that bell notification for future fire content, man. And we're gonna go into something that's been kind of interesting, man. That's kind of been under the radar, that's not been discussed since 2015, I believe it is. My dates may be off, but somewhere around that time frame, Utah Department of Corrections started to do a lot of reintegration of gang members. They've been on record quoting that they did this deliberately to hope that certain gang members would be able to intermingle and solve their issues, right? Which pretty much set the stage up for Gladiator Days, right? These are like gladiator style fights, man. One individual was killed. His name was Jeffrey Vigil. He was from a gang called Odin Trece, right? He was killed by a Crip named Ramon Rivera. Prior to him going, he wasn't trying to go to a location where it was all known Crip gang members. He ended up getting, I think, stomped out 70 times. All kinds of bad stuff that happened to him, man. And see, this has been a going trend. If you ever go on YouTube, right? On YouTube, you'll see different situations to where there's one incident to where two Southsiders are popped out with one Northerner. The Northerner ends up getting stabbed, but he fights. Then there's another altercation to where 8 Southsiders, one Northerner comes out the cell, and there's 8 Southsiders that are out there, right? And he gets them up with 8 of them. You know what I'm saying? He pretty much held his own. He actually, one of them ended up getting dropped in the end. He did all right on that one. But see, if you go through numerous articles and stories, man, there's been a lot of like 2-on-2s, 4-on-4s, and they've just been popping doors. And see, they're letting them get off. They're letting them fight for a couple minutes. You know, the staff are popping doors, and then there's not even a reaction. So this is pretty much being called Gladiator Days in Utah Department of Corrections. There's been inmates who've been stabbed, hospitalized, all kinds of situations. And see, gang members, this is one thing that Utah Department of Corrections needs to understand, and I know California knows this. If you ask a gang member where to put him, he's not going to tell you. If he's a real active gang member and he's really with those functions, he's not going to PC up. He's going to go out there and he's going to get him up. Corcoran, you know, as we know, this happened for years in Corcoran until there was too many deaths that occurred, and they finally put a stop to it. Right now, the way Corcoran got around this is they were implementing Department of Corrections procedures. This is why when they got indicted by the federal courts, all these officers were doing was implementing what the rules and regulations were for the institution, and that's how they were able to safeguard themselves. This Utah situation is a little bit interesting because they put people in situations to where it's been 1-on-8, 2-on-8. People have been stabbed, and see, they're not even taking actions in the gun tower to diffuse the matters. They're just letting them get them up. There's been a lot of people who've been airlifted out. Like I said, serious stab wounds. All you got to do is go on YouTube, and you'll see there's about 2 or 3 videos, man, to where the doors pop open, and either there's a group of Surenos, or the Surenos will still have the odds, and then they'll show the Norteno getting off with a bunch of Surenos. Now, this is also happening with Crips. They have Crips over there in Utah. They have all these other different gangs. So it's not just the North and South, but it seems that the majority of these incidents have been between the North and South. They're trying to get them to force to program with each other, you know. And we know from Corcoran, from those past days, right? There is no end to all hostilities in the Utah Department of Corrections. Now, if I'm going to take a guess, this is an assumption. I would like to believe that they're going to be falling under the federal vendetta of the NF. You know what I'm saying? Implementing those rules and regulations, which would be no programming with any of the oppositions. Okay. So you have numerous families that have been concerned. They've done boycotts, they've done marches, they've done everything. They've wrote letters, and to this day, Utah Department of Corrections have not submitted all their records of all these incidents. I know one year they had 342 incidents. The year before it was 312. Every year they've gone up, and it's one of those situations to where it doesn't get as much attention because Utah's a small state. You know, traditionally it's a Mormon state, very religious. They have their own different rules: no alcohol on the weekends and no alcohol past 6 o'clock, and it's a different type of environment. So the stuff that goes on in the communities or in the prison, a lot of the people in the public are not concerned about it. But it doesn't mean that you don't have family members that are concerned. Like I said, they had one death that I know of. It was that individual Jeffrey Vigil from he was from Odin Trece, and then you had an individual, like I said, Ramon Rivera, Mexican. He was a Crip. See, out of state, you'll have different groups. You'll have Mexican Crips, Mexican Bloods, Native Crips, Native Bloods. You'll have Nortenos and Surenos in almost every state, right? Now, and some of these people are coming with the California mentality. They're coming with the Fed mentality, which would be previously, if you were in the hole or shoot type environment, for a while the doors popped open, or you go to the yard, you're going to get busy. Then they had to stand down, where you just hold your own. The door policies. Now, see, these out of states, they don't have the same type of politics or structure or rapport with different groups to have diplomatic relationships to where they can work things out politically. Like even when we were at Gedi and war with the Southsiders for years on a main line, we would try to attempt to coexist. And what I mean by that, there would be respectful rapports when necessary. If it was war, it was war. But if not, we're over here, you're over there. You do your thing, we do our thing. You know what I'm saying? And when you were in the hole, there would be a lot of common courtesy, respect. My understanding, doing time in Utah, places like this, is it's basically get out everywhere. It's self-soldiering, it's doing all that stuff. So people aren't holding themselves up to as high as standards as they would in like the state of California. Now, not everybody's like that. Don't get it mistaken. It just depends what individuals you have there and the collection that they have. But it seems like Utah is getting away with gladiator style fights. You know, you could look up everything I said. Look it up. They'll show a Utah video where there's, the door pops open, only one Norteno is able to come out. There's 8 Surenos. He gets rushed by 8 Surenos. You know what I'm saying? There's another incident where it was 2 Surenos. You know what I'm saying? The dude ends up getting stabbed. Yeah, he hit the button to notify them what was going on, but they already knew what was going on. But then he went out there and fought his battle. So like I said, each state is starting to have different type of rules and regulations coming in from the California prison system, the politics and whatnot. Now, some of these places, they're far behind. They're still getting established. And you got those who may be rogue members who maybe have their own personal twist or the way of things they want things to be ran. For instance, you may have some Southsiders that came from a certain neighborhood who wanted all-out war with the Nortenos in this prison. That just may be how it is. It may be peace. You don't know, but in any event, though, you basically have Gladiator Days, and you could go through numerous articles. You'll see numerous situations. You'll hear about stabbings, fucking people getting their eyes blinded now, people getting paralyzed. They're actually going. They're getting busy in there. You know what I'm saying? And it's something that the public really isn't getting an outcry for because, like I said, certain states, the public don't have a concern for prisoners. Utah may be one of those. They're more of a Mormon religious state. They're more worried about doing whatever they have to do within their own religious confines and expectations as opposed to what's going on in prison. Nobody cares. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the truth of it. So you got your own reintegration going on in Utah, which is a little bit different than California's reintegration because California had the end all hostilities. There's no end all hostilities with these groups. They are just learning to be, for a while they were separated. They'd have their own buildings, their own blocks, their own yards. It's like that in Oregon. It's like that in Washington and other places. Nowadays, they're trying to put everybody out there on the forefront to either handle your business or get along or handle your business. And it's putting gang members in an uncompromising situation to where they have to go out there and handle their business. There's already been one death that I was able to confirm and look into, but there's been numerous situations where people almost did die, and the Utah Department of Corrections knows what they're doing and have admitted that they've done things deliberately to try to force these gang members to get along. I'm pretty sure the Department of Corrections in Utah gets a lot of their training from California on behalf of how to deal with Nortenos and Surenos. So I'm pretty sure that they have the knowledge to know that the situations they're putting these guys in, there's going to give some type of reaction. You know what I mean? Anyways, it's just a quick spiel, something for you guys to look into. Look into it. Utah Department of Corrections, man. It's another Gladiator Days, basically. They're putting people in position to go out there and get off and handle their business. You know what I'm saying? It's only a matter of time before more people get killed or seriously injured. We've already had one that has occurred that I know of. With that said, it's your boy Flacco, Convict's Perspective. I'm out.